ask me more questions so I can answer them wrong, 'cause I'm just one drink away from moving on.
Talk with Easy podcast, where we focus on building, connecting, and networking. Today I have a special guest in the building, Mackenzie Roark.
Hi.
How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Thanks for having me on.
Good. Of course, I appreciate you coming through, and we're gonna get into a little bit of your story. So,
Yeah.
First, where you from?
So I was born in Maryland, so I'm from Maryland, but my family moved down to Virginia when I was about 10. So grew up in Chesterfield, like actually kind of around this area, and then I live in Richmond now.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
How was your upbringing? Was
How was
music
my
involved with that, or?
Yeah, yes. I would say yes and no. I always grew up with, my parents like influenced us, musically and showed us lots of music and things like that. I grew up like in the church, and so that's kind of like a big part of my upbringing. And kind of how I got into music was sort of through the church, and like I was, my parents were like, you have to do an activity. You have to do like
You're good.
You're good. I'm good.
You're fine. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. My parents were like, you have to do an extracurricular activity, and I was kind of like, I was never into sports. I was never into like anything competitive. Like I just like had no interest in that, and so I started playing guitar and started taking lessons. And so my parents were like, you have to do church band in like middle school. Like you have to do church band. And I was like, all right, like I didn't really want to, but like did. And it was actually really good because like through like playing in church band and stuff, like just learning chords, learning how to like play and sing together, learning how to like be like do it in front of people and not be like terrified,
Right.
So that, that's kind of how like music sort of like playing music sort of like came in to play in my life. And then like, as I got older and started like kind of writing my own stuff, and it kind of took off from there.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, for those that don't know, what type of music are you making?
So historically, I've mostly made like Americana, folksy, alt country is kind of the term that, I'll use to describe it. Kind of within that vein of, I try to have songs that are lyrically rich. I mean, some of them are on the more like silly side, but like, yeah, I try, lyrics are important to me. I like the instrumentation of like country music, and, so things that I've recorded have had, pedal steel, banjo, mandolin, fiddle, like a lot of those instruments. So yeah. But now I'm kind of, I don't know, I feel like I'm kind of at a place where I'm like taking a bit of a turn, and I'm not as like country music focused right now. I'm kind of like, I want to do a little more rock and roll, just because that's kind of where I just feel myself kind of going right now.
Right.
But yeah, so alt country is kind of how we can define the music that's out, on the streaming platforms.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
I got you. Now, about what age did you start taking it seriously? Because I noticed you do a lot of gigs and things like that. Now, about what age did you start jumping into that lane of it?
Well, so that all started because I went to Ireland for a year to get my master's degree in creative writing. And so I lived in Ireland, and it was awesome, and started playing a lot of things over there, like open mics and just like jam circles and stuff, and started playing music like just for fun. That's kind of how I was meeting people over there. It's just through music. And so I met some friends, and they were just kind of like very encouraging, and they're like, you should try to make money doing this. And so I came home from that year, and this was like 2015, 2016, something like that. And I think it was like summer of 2016. I was like, I'm going to get myself some gigs. And so I just like mass emailed like everyone in the area that has live music, and just like sent them. All I had was like a YouTube video of myself singing, and was like, can I play in your restaurant? And so I started booking then, and then it really became like a major part of like my income, And so for the past that's been like 7-8 years, something like that. I've been gigging like very regularly, and trying to kind of work. And something I'm working on this year is trying to like not do as many of the bar gigs where no one's paying attention, and trying to do some more not serious, but just like more intentional with my booking, like
Yeah.
playing to audiences that are actually going to like listen to me and appreciate me, and like I'm not just like some background noise, because
Yeah.
I've done that for a long time, and that can be a little exhausting.
Oh, I understand. I'm an artist first, so I definitely
Yeah.
understand that, trying
Yeah.
to reach out. And I definitely give you your props, because a lot of artists that I've seen through the years, not all of them, but some kind of play it lazy, and they don't understand how important it is to
Yeah.
reach out, to those
Oh,
venues
yeah.
and places.
I mean, that's how you're going to get it done.
Yeah.
It's like no one's going to come to you. I mean, sometimes maybe someone will come to you and be like,
Yeah.
hey, can you play here? And that happens to me now. But, when you're first like, when you're first starting out and no one knows who you are and no one cares, like, you got to reach out. You got to like make those
For
connections.
sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, rolling high, feeling low, right?
Uh-huh.
What was the process like making that album?
So, that was my big project for 2022. My New Year's resolution last year was to make an album, and so I had a good amount of songs that I knew I wanted to record, but still like didn't have all of them, and like I've been wanting to do a full length album for a long time, but I've put it off because I'm like, my songs are ready. They're not ready. They're not good enough,
Right.
And so it's just like, I put it off. And so last year I'm like, this has to happen. So, I am on a record label called Vocal Rest Records. And that's within the past like 2 years or so I've been involved with that. And that's kind of like a collective of musicians in Richmond. We all kind of play a similar style of music, kind of all in the same vein of that sort of alternative country-ish sound. So being a part of that group has been amazing, because I've had people there to kind of help with the recording process and the producing process, and I've been able to like get a lot of connections through that. And so we basically booked studio time with this like little basically home studio. It's in a house.
Okay.
And it's actually, it's not far from here. We booked a weekend. We went in, we did like all of the, we didn't do everything, but we did like a lot that weekend, brought in the full band, like laid it all down. And then kind of throughout the rest of the summer, I would go back and do overdubs and have, people come in and sing harmonies and whatever. So it was actually like, it was a lot of work. It's a lot of coordinating. It's a lot of like making sure everyone's schedules line up and like making sure everybody's on the same page with everything. You have to be like very organized to
sure.
make an album. And like, that's something I've learned. It's like, you have to be like on top of it,
Yeah.
So that was basically last summer, making that. And, it wasn't too painful or anything like that. Thankfully, the people that I worked with are all amazing and talented and just so good at what they do. And I had, a producer, my friend Trey, who's the head of the label, produce the album for me, and so kind of like helped me with figuring out what creative direction I wanted to go in terms of like the different songs and stuff.
Right.
So
Now, the reason why I asked what the process was like is because, like in my field, with hip hop, most of the time those instrumentals are already laid out, and I know in that field, it's more so instruments are being like live, played in the studio. Then you have to mix more, and things like that. That's why I was curious.
We did a lot of live takes. Like we recorded all the songs basically live, like with drums, bass, guitar, scratch, acoustic guitar, scratch vocals, and so we got like the foundation down, and then like went back and like did the real take of acoustic guitar and like my real vocals, and we could like redo all that stuff and make it more perfect. But there was a lot of live recording, which is kind of like can be nerve-wracking for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's just like I
can only imagine.
because it's like, and thankfully, like I said, everyone was so amazing. It's not like we got like caught up on a song that we just weren't getting or whatever. Like everyone learn the material really well.
Right. Now, on the other side, once it's all done, performing live, what's your process of getting ready for that before we get into like, what goes on?
So I think that depends on what kind of show it is. I do a lot of solo gigs, just kind of here and there, breweries, restaurants, like whatever. Getting ready for that is like, it doesn't even like register to me anymore that I'm about to perform. It just kind of feels like a job. Like, it's like I've done it so many times. So it's like bring in my stuff, set up my stuff, go to the bar, get a drink, like do my thing for 3 hours. I kind of like zone out in a way because I'm like, all right, 3 hours of these songs that I've been playing for years. Like I just kind of zone out and like get it done, get my check and go home, you know? Sure. But when it's like a big show or like a full band show, or something where I know that it's like a little bit higher stakes or people are going to be paying attention to me. I mean, I do get nervous. Like I really do. I don't really know what that process is like. I mean, mentally, I have to get in the right headspace. You know, I have to kind of like talk myself up and be like, "You got this," you know, like because I've played not like a lot of huge stages, but like a small handful of times that I've played like something that's like a little bit bigger, and it is scary. Yeah. Like I'm still not like over it at all, and I can't even imagine. Like, I mean, I hope to like keep growing and in terms of like the size venues that I'm playing and things like that. And I'm like, I look at some of these big venues and I'm like, if I ever get there, I don't know like how I'm going to handle it nerve wise.
Way different feeling than where it is now.
I know.
Yeah. Cause I know for me, like my ritual is just pretty much isolating myself.
Really?
For any type of event like that. And just kind of get my head right. Like you said, go get a drink, get myself together. Yeah. So, I always wonder that, you know, because it's a different genre, so I'm just curious to how the ritual thing was. How important would you say it is for artists to be professional or professional, like I've seen you say, like online? Like how important would you say it is?
For artists to be professional? Yeah. Like in what way?
And reaching out and carrying themselves, like when they go to different places and
with people. I mean, I think there's like a balance there because it's like, first and foremost, we're artists, we're entertainers, we're performers. It's like we don't have to go in somewhere and be like corporate and use corporate speak and like things like that. And I don't think that's like expected. It's like you got to be yourself. You got to be fun. You got to sell. It's like you got to sell your personality as well as like the thing that you're making. I think that's just as important. But being professional and like staying organized and not like just like being a shit show. Like I do know some musicians that like it's hard for them to function, and that's, whatever. I try to be very like responsible with, my life and my booking and like staying on top of stuff, and I don't miss gigs. I don't like, if I know that I can't make something, I try to give people like plenty of notice. It's very rarely that I've had to like do something unprofessional, like cancel a gig last minute or something like that, which I have done. I mean, but yeah, you gotta like stay professional so that you don't like burn bridges. It's like, especially in this town, it's a small town. There's only so many places to play. And so you don't want to get a bad reputation as someone who's flaky or someone who doesn't show up or someone who just doesn't play well or, is just a problem. You don't want to be a problem. So yeah.
I got you. So what are some inspirations in your life, musically or personally? Does anyone in particular drive you to stay motivated with music? I would say, honestly, my community of fellow musicians probably motivates me the most. I am like fortunate enough to be friends with like a lot of really, really talented people. Like a lot of my friends in Richmond are musicians. And I look at them and I see what they're doing and how talented they are. And I'm like, I need to be on par with them, like I need to keep up with that. And so that is like a big driver and motivator for me. Are the other people that I see in Richmond making amazing music and doing like awesome things and just wanting to like be on their level, Right. Okay. Respect. I respect that. Yeah. What is a Mackenzie Roark studio session like from the point where you walk in that door?
So like when we recorded the album, honestly, pretty chill. I feel like almost like in like, at least when we did this, I kind of feel like a passive participant in it because, I have other people that like, so for example, the person that produced my album, my friend Trey, he kind of like had a plan. We like formed a plan together, but like, cause he was, taking on the producer role, he kind of like helped execute that plan. And I'm just kind of like, all right, what do I need to do? Like between the audio engineer, the producer, like the other people who are like, quote, in charge. Like, I know I'm in charge too, but like
Right.
those people in that moment, they're kind of like in charge, and I just kind of like, I feel like I follow, whatever they need to do. So I'm not really at a place yet where, I walk into a studio session and I'm like trying to figure out the song. Like, what's this part like? What's the, and it's really a creative time,
Sure.
because a lot of that I feel like had already been like figured out, beforehand. But I'd like to do, I really haven't done like a lot of recording. I have recorded things. Obviously I have a EP and an album. Those are really my 2 recording projects.
Okay.
And I've worked on other projects as well. But, I'd love to like get to a place where I can walk into a studio and just like be a little bit creative and like try different things, I just haven't had that luxury yet because studio time is so expensive. And so it's like,
Yeah,
I gotta
it can be.
be efficient with it, like go in with a plan and be like, all right, we gotta knock this out,
I got you. So would you say that most of the songs you recorded made the cut then? Or
all of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. It was all very like planned out in advance, like definitely. There's nothing that is recorded that is not out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if someone was starting off like you started off, and they're trying to get to that next level of getting to gigs, signing to a label or getting with a label, what would be some advice you would give them if they're just starting out? Just a couple things to lay on them.
I would say my number one advice is be a part of the music community, like be in the music scene. Figure out who in town is playing music similar to yours, kind of, and be friends with them. And the way to be friends with them is go to their shows, support their music, and get to know people, and then they will support your music. And so I feel like just getting into that community is so important. I know of several musicians who, they just kind of live on the outskirts of it, and they're just kind of like, why doesn't anyone come to my show? Why does the only people that come to my show are, my parents or whatever? And it's like, or a couple friends or whatever. And it's like, you have to I don't know, make some waves, be somebody, like make some friends, like show up for other people and they'll show up for you. So I think it's super important to just like, I don't know, be a part of that music community, find your like little corner of the scene, and get to know those people and just like support local music. I guess other advice would be like, just, have the material, like have, if you're trying to do gigs, if you're trying to, get paid to go and play places, have 2 to 3 hours worth of stuff. And that's kind of a lot to work up to for a lot of people, but you kind of have to.
So you'd probably have to go in and basically run through that last album on a show.
Oh, for what kind of show?
Any type of, like, say for instance you were going to like that local bar. About how long you think you performed that night?
Oh, like 3 hours.
3 hours. So
I'll take breaks, but
okay,
yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, and I play, I can play probably up to an hour of original music, but then I know covers. I play like all sorts of covers. So
Okay.
yeah, you gotta play covers. Learn, it's like learn how to play your favorite songs. Like I am so inspired by music and music that I like and music that I grew up listening to, and so it's like when I hear a song that I really love, I'm like, I want to learn that. I want to play it.
Right.
That's like the best. That's like, I don't know, the pinnacle of like loving a song for me is like learning it and learning how to sing it and like doing my own version of it. So yeah, learning covers I think is great. Some people will shit on it, but I think it's, great to learn other people's music.
Great. I mean, that's a lot of advice.
Yeah.
So I hope
I have all sorts of advice.
Whoever's watching is taking that in. Yeah. What's next for Mackenzie?
So just put out the album last year. This year I am focused on getting some kind of bigger shows. I have some festivals in the works, so festivals that I'm playing this year.
Okay.
So that's very exciting. I'm really stoked on that. I've been kind of figuring out who my backing band is, because I've played with lots of different people over the years. But trying to figure out the current, version of who my backing band is. So that's been a big project, but I think I'm figuring that out. So I'm happy with the direction we're going there. But yeah, I'm going on like a little mini tour in March, like down to Southwest Virginia and like Asheville. And I'm still like trying to kind of book that. But so I have like lots of little things happening. Mostly just trying to like get my name out there a little bit more, play some places that are not Richmond. I've played Richmond a lot. I want to continue to play Richmond. I want to continue to play bigger shows in Richmond, but I also I want to play some other towns, some other cities.
For sure.
And just like, I don't know, reach some other markets, I guess.
Mackenzie, I mean, it sounds like you got it going on for the year. So
yeah, I got a plan.
Yeah, definitely. I want to give you your props, and I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
But before we go, I want you to look at the camera to the far right there, and let the people know where they can find you online.
Okay, wait, this one or this one?
The one on the far right.
Okay, I don't know the difference between my left and my right. It's like my one thing. Yep. How can people find me?
Yeah.
Okay, so Instagram works. My Instagram handle is Mackenzie Roark. So that's MackenziEDoark. My name is Mackenzie Roark, but my Instagram handle is Mackenzie Roark. I'm also on Facebook, Mackenzie Roark. If you look up that, I have a website. I have some things on YouTube, some more things coming soon to YouTube. So yeah, and then you can catch me locally if you're in the Richmond area. My next big show is January 19th at the Camel. I'm playing with full band, and there's some awesome bands that are also on that bill, so that's going to be a really fun night. I try to post about my schedule and where I'm playing on Instagram for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good, Mackenzie. Great things going on.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming again. Until next time.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Tell me that I'm crazy, that I need